Good morning, Misfits. You are tuning in to another episode of the Misfit Podcast. Holy fuck, boys. Day one of competition block one is live right now.
Fucking Tilly time,
People
boys.
have been stuck in limbo forever, maybe even up to 18 months. And we're crossing through that threshold today and saying it's on. It's time to go.
A lot of
Game
limbo
time.
And
time.
with that in mind, grip test number 2 is going down. And really, we're just going to keep doing this because Sherb can't win, and I
so
love
allegedly,
it.
Holly
We got to go
wanted
backwards.
call-
Nah, he's fine. It's fine.
Holly
So the
called
strongest go
every-
first?
No.
Decided to
Nope.
call
What the
people out.
fuck? Why do
and
I gotta
said,
go first?
Hey,
apparently it
watch
has
him.
to
He's going to
be-
try and put his elbow up against the wall or something.
He's just gonna hammer it into the.
Jam her into the desk.
What'd you get there, guy?
It says 900.
Oh yeah, right.
All right, ready?
All right, ready.
3, 2, 1. 148.
Ooh,
that's
10 more
more
than last week. Still not enough.
All right, little
Hey,
fella.
pass it over. Let's go.
Yeah, fucking peasants first.
And 115.
155, baby. Sherb's coming in last 2 weeks in a
PR'd
row.
your strict press. You got all
saying?
lubed up.
I don't know. Hunter worked out this morning. He might be tired.
What do we got?
I am tuckered out. Ooh, switched it to kilos. You'll never know. What do I hit? Start. 157, bitch.
Oh, see, you have a bad day, and I'm coming for you. I'm coming for the crown. Old Tiny Hands McGee.
Yep.
It's just in here.
Joke's
But
on
it
you
is
guys.
not
I'm going down to
this
my basement,
day.
open up that bag of rice, and I'm going to start squeezing the rice.
Powered,
That's some bullshit.
powered by
You
ego.
roast
That's right.
me and Grisabelle, but my grip is so much stronger.
Speaking of how much stronger we are than Sherb, Operation Stop Being Weak is going quite well.
Yeah, you've been having a great couple days.
Retest week, sort of last week into this week, added strict press 165 to 195, which is 5 pounds off lifetime PR. Bench press 235 to 285, 5 pounds off a lifetime PR. So lifetime goal is 225 and 315, and I might just fuck around and have to up that a little bit. But yeah, I'm hoping I can do it in a year. I think I could get it done in a year.
Fuck, 225 overhead. That's one of my goals as well. Put 2 wheels of cheese on the side of that bar
Right.
and put it over your
Yeah.
head. That's
Fuck,
crazy.
it's a good day if I put 2 wheels of cheese overhead in any capacity. Fuck, that ain't
Split jerk?
That ain't, yeah, split jerk. Heavy single. There's no fuck. Yeah, I do not think I will ever in my life strict press 225.
Oh, that attitude.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
You would need to try to and gain weight.
Easy guy. What are you
Guy, he
saying?
eats like a jar of peanut butter a day.
I do.
like to clarify, like if anyone wants the programming that I'm doing, I'll send it to them. But
Super secret.
It's 3 days a week of upper body, so
Upper body
that kind
pressing.
of tells you how that could possibly happen. I don't know, Ted. Do you know? Have we decided on the leaderboard hashtag yet?
I don't know if it's decided yet, but we're leaning towards Misfit Takeover 2020.
Right. So keep your ears peeled to
Earballs
the
out.
podcast, and we'll make sure to get it on social media. But with the competition season coming around, make sure you get on that Misfit leaderboard, because we're going to do the open announcements and the quarterfinal stuff and all that media, and you get a chance to win free shit.
Giveaways.
Free stuff. So make sure you look out for that hashtag and add it to your games.crossfit.com leaderboard. And last but not least, Sherb v. Hunter countdown is on.
Oh,
Back.
When they try to avoid stuff, I bring it up to thousands of people that are watching / listening, and then they have to do it.
fuck.
I got a hangnail. I can't.
I gotta feed my
Sherb,
dog
do you think
my
you can
homework.
win one of the 3 workouts?
Fuck, is it going to be handstand push-ups and deadlifts
Oh,
at
we should do
500 pounds?
we should do open retest predictions.
Ooh, that's a good
That should
idea.
be a segment of
Like which
maybe
workout they're going to
which
repeat?
workout they're going to repeat.
I got an
All right.
idea. We got
I know that we're repeating
Nightmare.
20.2 as an ode to Sherb
I'll
here
be sick that day.
coming up pretty soon. Before we get into today's Q&A episode, if you saw on the Instagrams, before we get into that, we're just going to do our quick little like this week in Misfit recap. The Grisabelle scores are coming in. Loving those. A lot of good on the
fast
retest.
times.
Some really fast times, and then also some people that went a bit slower that took that chance that we talked about, and that is very useful information. So again, if you decided to grip and rip before you felt like you were ready and it either worked or didn't work, just make sure you file that away. The more mature athletes become, the more they realize that it's information and not like I suck.
It doesn't
Like this
matter
is
for
an
them.
error. Front squats looking a lot better. Hopefully the wind the elbows in situation, if you can get the full grip, if you can get that, preferred front rack position. But the 3 rep max front squats are going well. It's really great to see that. We have a belief that changes left to right a little bit over the years, but you don't necessarily need to do that movement a ton at heavy weights to get stronger at it. But that confidence in the weights is just as important as the ability to do it. So knowing that athletes can go into the season with that is great. This week, we're going to be focusing on a day 1 workout. Don Yote, you're all going to be throwing down on that today. And then some chest to bar pull-up tips. Oh, yeah. We got some requests for chest to bar pull-up tips. So we're just going to go back, talk a little bit about the grip and, certain things that you can think about. We've certainly spent a lot of time with the, if you're struggling with leaving your legs long and then having your hips come through at the end and they feel really slow, head to our YouTube channel. You might already be on our YouTube channel. You can check that out. And last but not least, Hunter's article, the Misfit Stimulus Package is live, so you can go check that out. It's, for a lot of athletes, just the concept of knowing why you're doing what you're doing and how these things can converge and come back together. I think buy-in is bigger, and then same thing with the front squat, that confidence piece of knowing that someone is sort of behind the scenes thinking about all of the things that are supposed to lead you to where you want to go.
Yeah.
We're going to get some questions or what?
Let's get it.
Let's get it.
Let's get it.
All right.
Guess we'll start with Sherb.
You reading the question, or me read the question?
You read the question. This one's for you.
All right. How dark is it when Sherb gets dressed in the morning? His outfits are LOL from @ArfBark. Thanks, Sander. The answer is yes. Most days I do get dressed in the dark. I don't want to wake up my wife who's sleeping, who's probably been up at like 2, 3, and 4 in the morning with my son, who's now 5 months. So there are a lot of mornings where I do get dressed in the dark, but I also don't care. And I go for a little bit of a, shock factor.
Did you get
days.
dressed in the dark before you had a child?
God, I always had style before I had a child. Now I had a child and my style's gone. So
Good to know.
No, for the most part, I'd like to just, go into the closet, grab a few things, put them on, and we'll see what happens. Nothing wrong with a little bit of shock value in your outfits.
Well, clearly.
I think
Known for
the
style.
ultimate shock value was always the number 1 ranking one was those lime green joggers we had
With
essentially
fluorescent yellow
anything,
shoes.
but like the Yeezys.
I'm gonna be so happy that year we were at Wadapalooza and we were up at the breakfast buffet, and this guy that came in with like fly fishing gear on, he literally looked like he was going fly fishing minus his footwear, which were a pair of those bright yellow Yeezys. And I was just like, see, this guy's got style.
Guy gets it.
This guy gets it.
This guy gets it. I'd like 14 yogurts.
Nothing wrong with that. Stuff them in each one of those pockets in your fly fishing
Show
vest.
up at a hotel bar with Yeezys, a goddamn fly fishing outfit, and you walk out of there with 38 yo plays in your pockets.
Sure found his soulmate in Miami.
We might have hung out a few times that weekend. It was a great time.
All right. Allison Carley asks, how does peaking for the AGOQ work if you are following MFT? Thank you. Good question. MFT is not specifically going to peak you for the AGOQ. The master's program will. So Gabe is working hard on making sure that program does exactly that. This might be a good conversation topic. It depends also on what level athlete you are, because we talk a little bit about, we're working on some upgrades to the website, and we were talking like, okay, if you're a 35 to 39-year-old games athlete, there's a reasonable chance that you should be following you could be following MFT,
right?
Or the master's program you could choose. A lot of those folks, like, I'd be willing to bet the Neil Maddoxes of the world, MFT qualified athlete, Drew Crandall, now a master's athlete, MFT qualified for
Look
sure.
out for that strict press.
Look out for that CrossFit total.
Bro total.
Bro total. Strict press, bench press.
Strict pull-up.
Would it be bad if your strict press outperformed your deadlift?
Don't speak.
We're not going there.
So
we only make fun of you on this podcast.
From a peaking perspective, the MFT program is going to peak you. You're gonna train through the open with kind of the highest volume occurring in kind of the middle of the open, because we're also assuming that if you're following the MFT program, you are also basically fit enough that you're going to go to the quarterfinals. So we are gonna peak you for quarterfinals, and then once competition block 2 starts and kind of semifinal prep starts, that's a different thing. So if you are looking for a program to specifically peak you for the AGOQ, it might not be a bad idea to switch to the master's program for the open phase, so that leads you into that weekend.
I think it's important to just acknowledge that some athletes will choose to just not do that.
Yep.
It's not necessarily going to be our number one recommendation, but what's great is if you have a pro or complete membership, you can see what the volume sort of looks like. And I think a lot of athletes aren't necessarily as worried about the volume differences as much as they are maybe rep ranges, weights, how often am I doing muscle ups, handstand push-ups, that sort of thing. So one thing that we believe in that 35 to 39 range is what, we internally call like MFT number 2, which is you follow what's mandatory only. And if you're going to add stuff, you're adding it because it's skill. You're adding it because it's aerobic work that's going to have those recovery benefits sort of built in. But the idea of adding another layer of intensity at that point in your journey is going to have diminishing returns. That's just kind of, it's borderline like factual. Because if you're at the level of an MFT athlete and you're at that age, 99% of the time you've done your 10,000 hours. And once that's happened, volume is not your best friend. It's just not going to be.
There are times when volume's appropriate. You're ramping up for something. That's definitely a reasonable thing to ask.
Or a certain age, or a certain part in your journey. Like everyone's had those stretches. All athletes, successful athletes have had those stretches where they're, just eat up 3 conditioning pieces a day, but it doesn't last that long.
It's not sustainable. I would agree.
Yeah.
Trying to look up something, see if I can help you out one more time real quick. No, it's going to take me too long to find it. But also, we have to remember the AGOQ is basically the last thing.
Right.
And that's not even, it's May, right? I think early May.
First week of May.
Yeah, so the open phase isn't really even going to like register with you, so to speak. So if you're currently following MFT, I guess actually I'll go back on what I said about switching in the open, because it won't matter, is maybe continue following MFT. Pay attention to how the program differs when you're approaching the quarterfinals week, because that's kind of will apply a similar structure and like weekly dose of like volume and stuff to the master's program. So you'll notice like the week before the online quarterfinal for the individuals, the volume's a little bit lower. It's a little bit more about kind of maintenance and just making sure you feel really good. So that same idea will apply to the AGOQ just kind of a month later.
Right. At M Cookie wants to know when Hunter will start his own YouTube cooking channel.
That is a hard never.
Hard never.
Hard never.
Jeez.
Why not?
I'm just setting up a camera. That's easy.
I like how they
heard he's
also
gonna
don't
invite you
understand that some of these are jokes, and like Sherb's like, well, actually, I set the light to a certain.
Yeah, they get the right ISO, right? That's a camera thing.
I'll stick with the old Instagrams for now and get the occasional like from people on food posts. But I also have to assume that like it's like the 90-10% rule. Like the 10% of people who actually care will throw you a like, and literally everybody else on Instagram is just like
unfollow.
It's unfollow. It's the same reason.
Boring.
It's just like, God, I don't want to see your kid again. I know you're excited about your kid, but I don't want to see your kid on Instagram.
Fuck, thanks. Tell me my fucking face next time.
Sure.
God.
I like how he's been like looking at both of us the whole time, and then when he's talking about Sherb, he faces the wall like over there.
I don't want to.
Fuck. All right, next question. At Savage Joe, your life's on the line. You have to nail a karaoke song. What is it?
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air theme song.
I'm going with We Didn't Start the Fire by Billy Joel.
There's no fucking way.
Yeah.
No offense, pal. You can sing that entire song? Alabama Jaguar.
Yeah, that's it.
Meatball spaghetti soup.
I would say
Spaghetti.
I would say Thunder Road by Bruce Springsteen.
Ooh.
Yep. So now we obviously have to find out if Sherb actually knows the fucking words, but we'll deal with that in another
We'll
episode.
save it for another day. I don't want to, interrupt the podcast.
We need just Sherb.
no-
Red China, Johnny Ray, South Pacific,
No.
North State, Maryland, Monroe. Like, let's go. Come on. Next.
That was like 1/10 of it. All right.
There's so many lines.
There are.
Lot of
It's
words.
Billy
There's
Joel,
a lot-
though, bro. We
lot of
listen to
words
80s
in-
cardio
lot of
like
words
every
in
day
that
in the
song.
gym.
Too
True.
many.
I'll be pretty impressed if you do that. I'm gonna have the lyrics up there and like, yeah, oh yeah, I'm gonna
Zap him every time he gets one wrong.
yeah, put a shot collar on him.
All
All
right.
right, Drew.
It's going to happen.
No.
Oh, you asked the question and answer it. Oh, is it my turn?
Yeah, guy. Get it
at-
together.
M. Milky.
Nailed
Brown
it.
Burgundy. MMIEL.
No, you're right the first time.
Yeah. Okay. How to manage a workout with a skill you don't have efficiently, aka handstand walks. This is it. Well, without context, a little bit more like, what does that mean? Does that mean I don't know how to handstand walk? Does that mean I walk 3 feet at a time? Does that mean it's hard? I
Yes.
like kind of think of the two extremes. If it's I don't have it, that's a kind of a simple answer, like get your skill work in outside of intensity, and then maybe like gradually build that in like some super low intensity, like, hey, I'm going to row 500 meters slowly and then try to walk 10, 15, 25 feet on my hands under a little bit of fatigue. So with the simple stuff there, if it's like I don't, or I have sort of the skill, but not really, that's where I would probably reduce like kind of distances to maintain like the stimulus of the workout, but you still have to, you have to get used to doing it under fatigue. So if you're on that line where it's like, I have it, sometimes it's just really hard. It takes me a few attempts to cover the distance that's required. A lot of times in affiliate class, they'll say, hey, cap yourself at like a minute. Depending on the distance, something like that. I think that works well, or just shorten it so that you can maintain kind of the stimulus of the, like, don't let it derail your entire workout unless it's a test.
Read the Misfit stimulus package, kind of get context for how you're supposed to read a workout, what's behind it, and how we're trying to think about workouts. And that can often shape your perspective when it's time to, all right, does it make sense for this to be at the end of a long workout where maybe I just see how far I can walk? Or is it rounds and rounds where this is going to really trip me up and kill the intensity in the workout? So I would recommend reading that article first before you kind of go back and say, all right, how do I fit some skill-based movements into my workouts?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it basically, if you're looking at the workout and you understand in context like this would be done, you know, other athletes in your gym, when it's 30 feet at a time or 60 feet at a time, how often are they kicking down? How often are they kicking back up? We use a lot of movements as a tool to manipulate energy systems. And if we don't get the opportunity to do so because the movement has taken over the workout, then there's really no point to it. Right. So you need to work on your hand. You know, Kenzie talked about it all the time. Great rule. Take the total volume, throw it in once the workout is done afterwards to work on it, and
she's pretty fit.
Get a decent sub in there. Something that you're more comfortable with. So, all right. DJ P-Tray, there has been very little pull-ups in this phase. Was there a reason for this? So again, without context of knowing exactly which program you're talking about, there are a lot of pull-ups there were a lot of pull-ups in the open phase. One thing to keep in mind is whether certain things are mandatory, non-mandatory, and that could go back and forth from if you're on the Hatchet Masters Teens program. But we actually prioritize movements that come up more often in the open, and we make sure that they're in there every single week, whether it's in a conditioning piece, an interval piece, or skill work. So I think there could be something to just making sure that you're looking at the entire program. And if you feel like you really need to work on your chest to bar pull-ups, but you're worried about volume, we've talked about it before, you can swap mandatory for non-mandatory. So I think it could just be one of those things where, you know, maybe at surface level, certain mandatory things didn't necessarily line up with a skill you were trying to work on. So just make sure you take a look at everything that's on there.
Yeah.
There's definitely opportunity for personalization too in our warm-ups. And we've said this in the past, but it's been a while since we said it. Like, we provide warm-ups each day to give people context for like, hey, it's important to make sure you check in with, parts of your mobility and the way your body's moving. Make sure you get your temperature up. But if you see toes to bar, maybe in the warm up in a small dose, and you'd prefer to work on your pull-ups, that's a great way to get a little extra volume and a little extra practice if you feel like you're missing a skill.
Yeah, quick find in the find a or like search feature in our master spreadsheet here. It was in there 10 or 12 times over the course of the phase. There were probably in case that you were asking, hey, pull-ups versus chest to bar pull-ups, there were definitely more chest to bar pull-up kind of pieces than regular chin over bar, and that's just one of those movements that actually I don't say this all the time because not every movement works.
There's
like
never
this,
been
but
pull-ups in the open, right?
I don't think there's ever been pull-ups in the open. It's usually a chest to bar, and two, that's one of those movements that usually if your chest to bar are coming along, your pull-ups are fine. We don't need to do 150 chin over bar pull-ups when we could do 80 or 100 chest to bar pull-ups, and still, again, going back to the energy systems and stimulus kind of thing, chest to bar pull-ups tend to hit the mark a little bit better a lot of times.
Right.
All right. At C_Ross88. How many chances do we have to earn handwritten notes? I feel like you're the guy to answer this question, Hunter. What you got?
I don't know. It depends on how I feel.
Yeah, it's not very often he feels that special.
Handwritten notes all willy-nilly, but if you're wondering where they are getting mailed out.
After he gets waxed in Don Quixote, maybe.
No, yeah. All I learned about that is just either you were Sherb and I, and you just died in Yoki Robinson, or you were basically anybody else, and it was just okay, when's this get hard?
Yeah.
So
I had to watch a couple of my athletes that literally got done, and it looked like they could just walk out and have lunch right after. Ugh, that was annoying. But moving on now to something else.
Yeah. So we'll give you some more opportunities for a little bit of a little pat on the back, but you got to earn it. Sick of this shit.
All right, Misfits, just a quick break for our show sponsors. Try to save you a little bit of money. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Sharpen the Axe. February 24th is coming up very soon. That is the Misfit Athletics Make Your Mark collection. If you're watching on YouTube right now, you see my hoodie. You see the back of Hunter's hoodie. You see Sherb's shirt over there. We got joggers. We have women's capris. We have shorts. We have socks. We have wristbands. We're really sort of rallying around the purple and the black and the white and the gray so that we make our mark in the 2021 Open.
Gems.
You can head to sharpentheaxeco.com and use the code word Keala, Keala, at checkout. You save 10%. They get 10% of your order. Excellent foundation. Make your mark collection. 224. Let's do it.
We are also brought to you by Pure Spectrum CBD. Head to purespectrumcbd.com and use the code word MISFIT to save yourself a little green. If you're anything like me, you really like that Black Label salve. It's my favorite thing to kind of rub on those knees, sore ankles, elbows, shoulders, basically anywhere that
Keep that
Hunter,
list at that, okay?
Yeah, anywhere that Hunter ends up fucking me up with his affiliate programming.
Again, God, Jesus.
So definitely check out Pure Spectrum CBD. Use the code word MISFIT to save you some green.
Yeah. We are also brought to you by Proper Fuel. Head to properfuel.co. Get your hands on objectively the tastiest and most well mixing protein that I've ever personally experienced.
You're not even a supplement guy. You love it.
I am not. That's actually a pretty good point, because when we used to have a brand that shall not be named here, it's just no, just kidding. But I'm not a huge supplement guy. I try to just kind of do the food thing. Also, there's sometimes an element of just not wanting to pay for it, but there's a noticeable enough difference in my recovery after taking it on a day that we just did. We just did the Jimmy Sendricks kind of retest. If you've been following along from last week,
watching you stiff leg that treadmill out there.
Oh my God.
Heels first.
Walking
I got two wooden legs.
Yeah, I just got two peg legs attached because my quads are so roasted. But I feel better today and had a pretty good back squat day relative to my current fitness level. So it's a noticeable difference, and enough so that has made me definitely not a supplement guy, but certainly more of one than I was before, because it has everything in there that I already need. The protein, creatine, leucine, electrolytes, and then the fenugreek extract has all been super helpful for me. So properfuel.co, use the code word MISFIT to save on your first order.
And last but not least, we are brought to you by ourselves, MisfitAthletics.com, SugarWOD Marketplace, TeamMisfit.com. Competition Block 1 is live right now, and you can try it for 2 weeks for free. Come on, let's go. Everybody else, you're already on it. You're going to kick some ass. We're going to see it. Misfit Takeover 2021. All right, back to the episode.
Okay. At JFernan07. Why do you choose that weird names for the workouts? So I guess I'll pass this over to you.
The named workouts are basically just like a internal fun joke kind of thing. And it went from naming just a few that are in there to trying to get the Misfit WOD, what you see on Instagram every day, to be named. I'm either trying to be funny, smart, or hide Easter eggs for people to try to figure out what the fuck I'm talking about.
But you usually go with like a theme each phase, right?
Yeah. So I tried. It got too easy. So I like this upcoming the phase that's going on right now. Competition Block 1 is books. fucking nerd.
Books.
So
for 200.
I mean, and I've said this before. I listen to, when I'm writing a phase, I listen to only one album while I'm doing it. It gets me into a little bit of a trance, which I like. And I usually throw an Easter egg that way in. The name of a song is one of the named workouts. So
you got a few Harry Potter ones in here. I know you're a Harry Potter.
Breathly Hollows.
Fuck.
What was the second week one?
Goblet of Dire.
Goblet of Dire. LOL. Okay, next.
At CrossFit Emily, anything you discuss for someone with a long-term goal to get to semis like 2 years out? Honestly, this is typically a question of persistence. We reposted, person that comes to mind, we reposted Holly from Iceland. Really good teen CrossFit Games athlete that decided to, I understand that I'm going to be now, I'm all of a sudden I'm 18 and I'm competing against, mostly 25 to 35 year olds. And he has just, part of it's, the Viking blood, but he's just taken the approach of, I'm going to get a little bit better every day. And it's been, 5-6 years, and you can see it. And those are the kind of athletes I think that tell just as good of a story as, your, CrossFit Games winners, because it's persistence, and it's understanding that along the way, you might, like visually think about it, like bottom left of the photo is you, top right, you want to go to semifinals, and it's not this standard trajectory, right? There's, you have to take the steps that get you all the way to that place. You can't try to skip them. It does not work. It's never worked. There is no gimmick. So it's really just noticing your incremental progress. And then as you start to do that, as you're starting to get better, maybe you add a little bit of volume. Maybe you follow the Hatchet program and snag an MFT piece every once in a while. And then all of a sudden you're crushing it and you start following MFT. It's, to me, it's 100% about persistence. People are freaking incredible when they can put their head down and work for really long periods of time. It's just really about whether you can do that or not.
And I'd say it's such a very challenging thing because, again, we're give it to me now kind of culture. We have the social media, we have the likes and all that, and people tend to want instant gratification. And what's Holly's done really, really well, to his credit, is he just, again, goes to the gym every single day, does the pieces that he needs to do, moves on, doesn't let them give him a hangover for a few days. Like, I did really bad on Monday, so it's going to affect my workout on Friday. He just keeps going in, keeps getting a little bit better. And, he puts himself in a situation where he's not the best athlete in the room, and he likes to find people to work out with to help get him that push. So for me, it's just really cool to see someone who, essentially grinding in the shadows, all of a sudden feel like he pops out of nowhere. And it's like, when did he turn in and be able to do all that? And it's just that you didn't see all the hardship he had, the days where he really struggled with things and just said, you know what, tomorrow I'll be a little better. Tomorrow's going to get better. That mindset's a very difficult thing to cultivate, but if you can be patient like that and just keep showing up, you'll see the benefits. Just the hard part is getting over that, instant gratification.
I think, Emily, something that you need to consider too is if you are really invested or you really want to kind of make that push, and obviously 2 years, that's a great kind of a pretty specific thing. So you're making hopefully an accurate assessment of where you are now, and kind of, saying like, I think it'll take me 2 years to potentially get to where I want to go. You should really consider getting a coach. If you don't have one already, like get either, apply for remote coaching or find a coach locally or somebody that can help you with that, because similar to you, probably more so, is that I have a couple of athletes that when we started were very much like hatchet program athletes, and they have progressed to the point where they're both now like following the MFT program and putting up scores and times that are reasonably competitive. Some days good, some days not so good. But having that coach being able to kind of drive that trajectory for you and know kind of when, speaking in terms of our program specifically, like maybe you start as a hatchet athlete with a little extra volume or whatever, knowing when to kind of make that jump or to make the transition to kind of the next step on each rung of the ladder is super important. So I think like for that sort of goal, I would seriously, that's one thing that I would discuss is like, I make sure you have a coach, assuming that you're kind of you're considering doing this on your own.
I think this is you, Sherb.
All right.
Oh, that's a good one for you.
Track athlete, what would you say the first couple of steps to opening a CrossFit gym would be? ? And thank you. Honestly, the first thing for me is just like, what's your reason for opening one? And a lot of people, like, if you asked me 10 years ago, it's like, so I could work out all day. Obviously, I have a gym. I can work out whenever I want. It's just making sure you have a sense of purpose. So, a lot of people like either the competitive aspect of CrossFit or like the health aspect for it. But, take a good long look in the mirror and say, what is your why? Why do you want to open one up? And then once you have that like clear defined mission on one, you want to open one, start small. I mean, I think you and I can kind of talk about this a little bit, but when you get your first gym and things start to get successful, you want to really like expand it super, super fast. And sometimes you can outpace your own growth and then hold yourself back for years. So I think, one thing that we've done a really nice job with our second affiliate is kind of let things kind of happen naturally and let the growth dictate how much you expand your class offerings, how much equipment you buy. But the nuts and bolts of it is just, if you're a good person who cares about helping other people and you love CrossFit, like that's pretty much all the prerequisites you need to, start a successful affiliate. Start with that type of mission first.
I would say my number one thing in this realm is if you think that you are going to depend on another person as much as you sort of depend on yourself, you're better off having them have equity over, maybe like a kind of a silent partner. And then both of you need to be intimately involved in the details when it comes to how your gym is built out, how things are set up, how things, how the gym looks and where's the rig. And, you need to pull those horse stall mats in yourself. You need to cut them yourself. There's something very powerful in terms of buy-in. When you get people to work with their hands, to work together, you have those moments where it's, hand me the hammer, or sure,
put the hammer down, please.
Sure, put the hammer down. That piece of wood looks heavy. Please lift it for me. That sort of thing. So I think it's easy when you're starting a business to try to snag 100% equity, but then wonder why a little bit later why everyone else doesn't care as much as you. And it's like, well, it's not yours. It's just, it's their paycheck kind of a thing. So if you want other people to care as much as you need to incentivize them to care as much as you do.
And one last thing I would like to add to it, I think it's important to, once you do open your business, is start learning a little bit more about running a business. Because honestly, I got into the affiliate ownership of like, I just love CrossFit and I want to help people learn how to do CrossFit and didn't really know much about business. So once you start getting up and running, like, don't be afraid to find a mentor or find other people in your community that might have a little bit more experience running a business and sit down with them, grab coffee with them, figure out what you need to know about being a successful business owner versus just how to implement CrossFit in your gym. And that, to me, those two approaches combined together will lead to a successful affiliate.
I'll answer this one, but I think we're all going to, and I still want the next question. This is a group one.
You don't get two in a row.
Yeah, I do. I just said so. At Off the Vine Rod 13, softball. First vacation you go on when you're able to go without restrictions. It's funny. We were just talking about this too, because it's insane. Like you have to So you get obviously you get tested before you get on a plane.
Don't you start political conversations on this podcast,
No,
young man.
I'm not going to start a political, but it's like
I might.
you get tested, you go on your vacation, then you come back, and then the CDC, the recommendation is
The recommendations are frustrating. What's your answer?
I'm trying to educate people. It's either Indonesia would be like
The
kind of
first one? Like, let's fucking do this?
A big one.
All
Yeah.
right.
If I was going big, if I was going a little bit smaller, it would be like a South America, either Costa Rica, Nicaragua.
If you don't show up with a puka shell necklace in the next year, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah.
Those are the puka shell capitals of the world.
Yeah.
Sure, what you got?
Also consider I would consider Hawaii like a winter in Hawaii surfing, and not by winter I mean like week. So.
Well, wife and I already discussed this. Big picture, trying to go to Vietnam. Probably won't be our first vacation. The first one will be someplace just warm.
South Portland.
Yeah. Yeah, if I can't go to Vietnam, I'm going to South Portland. No, honestly, it's somewhere in like the Bahamas region. Just get someplace warm. She's had a really difficult year being a teacher, and the pandemic's not a really fun thing. I don't think it's fun for anybody, but just for her, get her out of here, get her someplace warm, relaxing on a beach someplace with a drink. That's where we're going.
It depends on when it is. That's so I get to give 3 answers because it depends on when it is. If it's soon, I want to go to fucking Colorado and snowboard, but it's like looking at the restrictions.
Soon, like being like this winter soon,
Like
sort
tomorrow,
of thing.
yeah.
Like tomorrow. Got it. Also, I'm going to Colorado.
If it like standard trip, I would probably say Mexico. I love Mexico. I don't know why like in America it gets sort of the reputation that it does. It's like everyone's super chill. The food is amazing. Yeah. Like Mexico is awesome. And obviously there's a bunch of different places in Mexico, but I've been to a handful of them and I fucking love it. And I would say my third answer would be if it was like sort of work related, we find our way out to the Kiala Foundation to help out and maybe find a wave or two in Kauai.
Yo, what's up?
Let's do it.
Let's get it. All right. I don't want the question.
No, you said it. Too late. Nope,
That guy 347. Will teens track be treated different than the adults for the AGOQ?
It will be a little bit different. The strength work.
I mean, it's a different program,
It
correct?
is a different program.
Yes.
The strength work
Okay.
will look very similar, and that's because of our philosophy. We really do think this time of year, like we talk about in the Phase podcast, is that we want to make sure we're kind of checking in with different strength movements so that we have confidence in different modalities, high rep, heavy weights, all of that. But the Metcons will be a little bit different from the MFT programming. And
That's
also
not the
a little
question.
different
The
from
question
the
is
Masters
whether
program.
the teens and the masters are different.
They will be 2 separate programs. So yes, they will be different.
All right.
My turn.
Go ahead.
Never mind. Also,
I also love that he called me Herbs. I really like Herbs.
herbs and cheese.
Damn, Herb cheese. No, I'd say
You got to ask the question. They don't see the question.
at that guy.
They do see the question.
347.
Not on audio.
What's Herb's favorite cheese?
Dude, what is your favorite cheese?
Herb.
Tough, man. I really like a smoked Gouda, if I'm being honest. Like, I really like a nice smoked Gouda. But if I'm going with the, traditional, I'm just going to go to the grocery store and pick up a block to snack on in front of class. I'm going with some cheddar.
You ever made mac and cheese with smoked Gouda?
No, but I should now.
Yeah,
Oh,
you should.
I never really played around with making my own
13
mac and cheese because I always had the blue box growing up. Just blue box was the easiest way to go growing up. A little packet, little milk, little butter, done.
No.
But no, I gotta
Nope.
branch out.
Yeah, you do need to branch out.
All right, at Justin Reitelbach, who's going to grab that fittest man on earth title now that Frazier is retired?
Hunter Wood.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, Neil Maddox better watch out for the Masters.
Man, that's a tough one. I guess it depends on who
No,
qualifies.
this is like it's a prediction.
Pick your pony.
Yeah, pick your pony.
Does Vellner even train anymore? Is he working out?
Pretty sure he is.
Yes, yes, I think he
I
does.
hope he listens to this too. Who's that guy?
I think
He didn't have a good stage 1. That's why you didn't see him at the ranch.
I mean, I think given now the structure or the season structure is a little bit more traditional and isn't like you randomly get axed out of the contention for the fittest on earth like at some random point in the season. I would have to go with probably like a Pat Vellner. If Noah Olson puts together a really good weekend like he had, what year was it? Maybe 2017 or 18, when he was
19.
19?
Yep.
Nipping on Frazier's heels. he's kind of a hit or miss. Like things either have to go, workouts have to be generally a little bit more in his.
I mean, top 5
wheelhouse
2 years in a
and
row,
just
I would
like-
say, is fairly hit versus miss.
Yeah, I guess so. So I would go with probably one of those two.
I'm going
are
with-
good contenders.
I'm going with Noah because I see him being more well-rounded than Pat. And again, Pat would probably hate that answer, but I really do
I hope
watch
so.
him do some of those
Hope he hates that.
some of those monostructural pieces and the way he's pushed Matt in the past. Like he, to me, is the closest one to it. And to me, like lives and breathes, I want to be the game's champion more so than like basically anybody else that I really see. And again, I'm going through social media as my lens, but that's my pick.
Chandler Smith.
I like that one too.
I will give the we gotta the shout out to Medeiros, but we've seen so many freshman successes that he's either
Sigmund's daughter,
like is
Horvath.
he Fraser or is he someone who's perennially going to come in the top 10, maybe like a Panchek kind of a style. Although he's coming back, and you got to believe he's coming back with a vengeance. That guy's like, if you look at his CrossFit Games history, he's crazy.
He's top 5 for like 12 years in a row.
I think he's like probably the most consistent games competitor aside from like a
The
Ben
champions,
Smith
yeah.
or like
Yeah.
or the champs. Like
Yeah.
consistent, super consistent. Drew.
State of shock. Are you guys thinking of creating a proper fuel pre-workout? You bet your ass we are. This is one of those things, some of the people that haven't heard sort of the story behind proper fuel, this is something that I wanted to do for a really long time. So when James and Trish came to us, a couple of our members asked us if we would be interested in like kicking the tires on a supplement company. I was pretty excited. Honestly, sort of creating supplements for myself that I really wish existed. A lot of pre-workouts have one of the couple of ingredients you should have, and it seems like none of them want to have all of them in the same package. And my purview has almost nothing to do with the industry and all to do with just reading about supplements. Like, this decreases fatigue, this increases, aerobic capacity, anaerobic capacity. There are a lot of supplements that help mentally with fatigue. So like you're on the bike and you don't have the voices as much. Like, so there's some amino acids that help with that sort of profile. So yes.
Yes.
I feel like that's how all of every company's been started. It's just like, I want a place to work out. Man, I would really like like some nice hoodies. A protein.
I don't know
some
what you're
protein
talking
shake.
about.
Wasn't that a great affiliate business plan? I like exercise. I should open one of these.
Hey, that worked in 2010.
All right, at Mario GC21, post-COVID recovery training. I assume that means that you've had COVID and you're looking to kind of get
You
things
came
going.
to the right crew.
You're in the right space. You're in the right spot. You're looking to get back into things. With anything else, obviously let yourself fully heal first. Feel like you're starting to get normal. And then my recommendation is to start with some really easy fasted cardio sessions. Like if you've got access to a machine, sit on it, kind of keep that intensity relatively low. Let your breathing sort of dictate your pace. And as you start to feel a little bit more normal, then slowly increase your volume. I can speak from firsthand experience that I went down to do an assault bike workout about 4 or 5 days after I got COVID, and I couldn't hold 300 watts on an assault bike, and usually that's slower than
You
my
kept
warm-up.
working out with COVID.
Yeah. So I tried to do that, and I definitely felt the effects. So for me, it's let your body heal. I mean, you don't need to give your body an additional layer of stress when it's already stressed to the max dealing with this, virus. So allow yourself to heal, but maybe, you do some extra time in saunas, or you're doing some extra, meditation, or you're doing some stretching, some, body movement that'll be good for you. But again, just keep the intensity relatively low until you start to feel like yourself again.
I think what's interesting about it is that a lot of the experts are saying COVID wants you to fucking sit on your ass and do nothing so that it can wreak havoc. So for me, it was about finding the balance in I need to keep moving, but if I care about my score too much or push too hard, I'm sort of setting myself back. So basically what I would do is go out into the gym and look at what the affiliate class was doing and try to get, okay, I'm going to use a machine, but I'm going to do a gymnastics movement that I know that I like. And, very manageable reps. One of them was literally 4 muscle ups, 8 burpees, 12 C2 bike calories. And the volume was able to, over the course of 20 minutes to really add up, but I never felt like I was really overdoing it within the workout itself. So I would say you got to keep moving to sort of tell your body that that's your goal, that you want to get out of it. But, assault bike sprints and Fran are probably not the type of thing that is either going to give you confidence or move the needle in the right direction.
Yeah, I think it just depends on who you are and how you feel. Like I got knocked on my ass for a couple days. And obviously didn't work out. That was like feeling really shitty.
Maybe that's why you suck so bad at Yoki Robinson, though.
Probably.
Yeah, that was my excuse
No,
too.
that
Still
was
got COVID.
Yeah, it was just my fitness. But then I got back into it. I didn't. Probably I had like a day or two where the super high intensity stuff was very obviously uncomfortable. But yeah, same idea is just to try to keep moving, get outside, go for walks. Like we all know the benefits of the sunlight and stuff like that we talk so much about, and that certainly applies now. Like wear your mask, but get outside and walk around in some open space and just stay moving.
Right.
The Count of Hoops asks, what 3 exercise/primer should I dose into training to assist with my CF movements? Did we say we were going to answer that question?
Improvement.
Yeah. So we don't really know exactly the context here. So we were like, oh, we'll have a little bit of fun and say, like, if you could have 3 movements to get someone in better shape, what would they be?
I'm excited for this.
I mean, I get 3 movements to get
Pick
somebody
3.
in shape. All right. Rowing, back squatting,
Damn.
and strict pull-up.
Ooh,
Wow. Strict pull.
it's not bad. It's not bad.
Yeah.
I was gonna go with deadlift, assault bike, and burpee.
You fucking would, you peasant. Surprised you didn't go deadlift, assault bike, handstand push-up. Deficit, parallel handstand push-ups.
Honestly,
man.
super boring, but I was going to say row, back squat, burpee.
Yeah, burpee's a good one.
So
Damn right it is.
Yeah, I think
right.
the common theme to just like not just kind of throw that question like here's 3 answers from everybody is all 3 of them were just like, hey, like machine, weightlifting, gymnastics, but all of them very like doable.
The gold standard,
gold standard for like kind of strength conditioning and body weight stuff, and just being those 3 things are like relatively low skill, which means relatively compared to like handstand walking, but all very doable, all very easy to like progress in and say like, oh, I'm gonna add 5 pounds to my back squat every week for until cows come home to roost, whatever they say.
Cows roost?
Cows roosting, row a 2K, go a little bit
Some weird
faster every
cows in
day.
Scarborough.
Like all those things like enable you to very easily progress like on a weekly or at least bi-weekly basis.
Yep. All right. At the Count of Hoops, what's the secret to longevity and sustaining high-level performance? I would say sort of 1 and 1A would be a symbiotic relationship between your goals and your priorities. If you get confused about this amount of dedication is going to lead to this, if those sliders don't really line up well, that's a recipe for disaster, because your expectations are just so far outside of what you're putting in. It's sort of a you get back what you put in. And then the other one would definitely just be a generic catch-all of mental health. If you have all of these other stressors in your life that are really messing with you, and you're riding an emotional roller coaster from day to day, workout to workout, phase to phase, whatever it is, you're just always going to have to question what you're doing. And the athletes that do the best, it's almost boring. Like, it's just, okay, get it done next day, get it done next day, get it done. So those would be my sort of 2 answers.
Yeah, kind of going back to Holly again. I think it's just trusting and following along with the process, like realizing it'll take time to get there. But if you genuinely enjoy going in and pushing yourself every single day, it's not a hurdle. You're not doing it for external reasons. You're doing it because you like it. That to me is the number one thing that determines the longevity and the success of an athlete. Because if you're doing it for the wrong reasons, you're doing it for fame or for money, and it's not, you don't have your heart set into it. Like we've seen so many talented athletes come through our doors who have all of the physical gifts but didn't necessarily love the grind of day to day. We see them flounder, not perform at the level they could because they did not love the process of getting better.
I think long term it's having that just kind of the balance, understanding that if you're always on, you're never on. In the same way that Sherb says, what's your why? Every podcast, I'll say if you're always on, you're never on sort of thing. So having, understanding that especially if you have a high level goal, that it's going to take some time to get there, but it's not 100 miles an hour from where you're at right now to that goal. There's going to be the ebbs and flows, and you need that kind of, upper, training is a priority, and then having that rest and digest and let it kind of not fall by the wayside, but that mental balance in order to sustain that over a long period of time.
All right. At Reese_Lara13, do I need to record the first 3 weeks of the Open to qualify for quarterfinals? The
Yes.
answer is yes. If you go to the CrossFit Games rulebook, it does say if you plan on participating in the second stage or you think you have a chance to, you need to record those workouts because they're going to ask for them. So, yes.
Trust me, I was in the top 10%. Can I do these now? Off the Vine, Rod13 asks, where do you see Misfit/STA/Proper in 3 years? Satellites out of state? Just a troll, like, yeah, satellites are out of state, actually, off the planet. So, I don't know. You want to go? You got
Sure.
business plan guy?
Business plan guy. I mean, Misfit Athletics, it's probably, I don't know, these answers are probably going to be boring to the people that are listening because we're typically talking about exercise and working out. I would say Misfit and STA, a lot of it has to do with bringing in more people. The people that are in this room right now have a lot of hats, a lot of job responsibilities, a lot of different things that are going on. And you've heard us, through the musings and other things, preach that like deep work and really putting yourself into one thing is how you, achieve the best results. So, bolstering our team, getting the right people in here. And with STA, I would just say we're going to keep listening to our customers. That's probably the best lesson that we've had over the last X amount of years is like, if I want a specific shirt or Hunter does or Sherb does,
If I do, they just say no. But
true. But it doesn't, it honestly doesn't really, when you're running a business, doesn't really matter. Right? Like it's more of listen to your community, listen to what they want. And then with Proper, I mean, more products, sell some more stuff. And it's been weird starting a business during a pandemic. So get out on the road and,
bring it to you.
Bring it to people, talk to people about it, single serve packets at competitions, like that sort of thing. It's, things are, thank goodness going well, but it's different. It's very different. So being able to like get out there and do what we do, connect with people, talk to people about the product, I think that's sort of the biggest thing. And then the whole like satellites out of state, we are internally kicking the tires on and really working on the idea of a Misfit coaches certification. That would be the only way I think that we would start allowing someone to call themselves whatever, Misfit Gym Seattle or something like that. We would want to make sure that, sort of our philosophy and what we think goes into affiliate coaching and competitor coaching is out there in the world in a very like
Develop package.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep. I think it's me. At N Solstice, opinions on moving between MFT/Hatchet and Masters tracks. Pick one and stick to it. The answer is yes. Absolutely. Please, please do not bounce around between the tracks. That isn't going to make for a complete picture. When we write these phases, we sit down, we talk about objectives, and then each phase and each program has its own objectives and goals, and they're can be slightly different. So if you're bouncing around, you might have a lift on Monday that interferes with a conditioning piece on Tuesday, or so on and so forth. And as a result, you would have less effective training. So for us, I recommend anyone that reaches out to us, via social media, pick a track, stick to it for a phase, and then reevaluate afterwards if that track met your, the needs and the goals that you were after.
Especially if you're not a complete member. Like if you're a complete member and you're on Hatchet and you want to snag a piece from Masters or MFT because you feel like it's a great supplement, you want to, pull in some weakness templates, anything like that, I think is okay. But
because you can see the full
because
week.
you can see all of it. Not having that vision and not like Sherp said, I mean, if it's pull all the time and all of a sudden your elbows don't want you to even enter a gym, that's going to be a problem. So I would say, your evaluation period, Sherp, makes a whole lot of sense to me. Follow the phase through. Like CrossFit's funny in that way. Like if you are doing Hatchet and you're absolutely like crushing every workout, you're getting so fit that you can finish out the phase and then start to sprinkle in some MFT afterwards and see if it's having the same effect or not.
Also, off the Vine, Rod 13, how do you approach making each phase? Which phase creation taught you the most? This is a fun
my
one to nerd
favorite.
out
This is
on
my favorite
programming,
topic.
You want to kick that off?
Workflow, I would say anyone out there who's working on something like this with a million moving pieces, be obsessed with your workflow. How do things come together? Because when you try to work on, we just talked about it, when you try to work on a million things at once, it just doesn't work. You don't see the big picture. So when we're making a phase, we get together and talk about what our goals are. What are we trying to accomplish in this phase? Is the test long, medium, short? Are we making sure that we're focusing on different movements within the test? What lift are we trying to peak right now? What lift are we trying to sneak into more Metcons? What lift do we want to be high rep? We go through all of this. Do we have an anaerobic or aerobic focus? So we decide before anything gets put down into the sheet what our goals are. Then from there, we create the entire sheet. It starts more based on schedule. That's sort of its own session. Then the lifts go in as its own session, and then the style of workout goes in as its own session. No movements yet. Then all of the movements go in as its own session. And then that's when we all sort of sit down and look at it and write the workouts. And I can tell you from experience that writing a phase beginning to end in one session, like your brain just doesn't like function by the end of it. And when you log in on the day that it is, finally time to write workouts and the stimulus is in there and the movements are in there, you really get an opportunity to think deeply about the best way that you can accomplish that, as opposed to, I just donated 99% of my brain function to what I was doing before.
What you describe is exactly like what we try to get athletes to avoid. We're like, oh, I'll do MFT in an hour. It's like, no, you can't do all of those pieces in one single hour and get what you're trying to get from this. And I was hoping you would say what you just said at the very last second there. Like, hey, it's important to do these as separate sessions because you can kind of create the format of the layout and then you can really dive into one thing specifically versus just doing 75% work. This is good enough. Just go get it. So to me, I do think it's really important that people understand that when this stuff is, taken upon ourselves, it's many different meetings, it's many different ideas, it's bouncing, questions off one another to make sure things are dialed in and, having a team to work with, because it does, for us, it does require a team because we might have a good idea, but it's a little bit off from what we want. And by brainstorming together, we come up with a much, more efficient and better package because we have those conversations.
And 3 people put their eyes on every single piece at the same time. You have to defend, it's like defending your thesis. Yeah. You want to write a workout, that's fine.
Can just get thrown in the middle of the ring, be like, okay, bitch. Here.
Yeah. So
release the hounds.
What was the second part to that question? Or did we already sort of cover it? Which phase creation taught you the most? I actually think phase 5 last year taught me the most. The
games prep,
what we called games prep was games prep if you followed the whole thing, but for MFT it was the a la carte type deal, and people were really able to personalize their program, and they also were able to follow our GPP model when it comes to weightlifting. And I think that sort of rotation kept people fresh, and that's something that cannot be understated, is the value of keeping athletes, the buy-in in there and the mentality in there and the motivation in there. You need that. Like the words on the paper, they don't get put into, it's not like a robot's doing them and then spitting the results back out. It's a human being that's taking that stuff. So there's going to be nuance for each person following the exact same thing. It's going to be different. So I would say that rotation, which you're going to see in all 3 competition blocks this year, we assumed that it would do that, but seeing it actually happen, seeing people PR when the lift kept changing each week was definitely eye-opening.
And I think it's really important to acknowledge that you out there, all of you that follow the program and give us feedback and let us know how things go. Like the one thing that always sticks in my mind when I hear people ask about like the programming and how we came up with it are those 6, 5, 4, and then one single deadlift that we had the games athletes do probably back in 2015 or 16. Yeah. And we were all asking, like, is this stupid? Like, there's only a handful of deadlifts. Like, are we going to get people to really see the benefit we wanted? And we saw tremendous PRs from it because you told us, hey, this worked really, really well. We were able to keep athletes fresh, and that type of information is super useful to us. So, when we put out surveys and ask you for information on how the programming is going, or, we say at the end of every podcast, slide to those DMs and let us know how it's going. We genuinely want to know how things are going so that we can shape our perspective so that moving forward, we continue to be the number one programming company when it comes to, I want to be the best, fittest athlete I can be. Come to us with that information so we can, again, keep developing the product.
True.
Yeah. That's it?
Damn.
That was a good one to end on.
Yeah, that was a good one to end on. All right, ladies and gents, thank you for the questions. Thank you for tuning into another episode of the Misfit Podcast. And the third thank you is for our show sponsors, PureSpectrumCBD.com. Use the code word MISFIT to save. SharpenTheAxeCo.com. February 24th, Make Your Mark Misfit Open Collection. Very exciting times. Use the code word Keala, Keala, to save 10% on your order and to donate 10% to the Keala Foundation. And last but not least, properfuel.co. Use the code word Misfit to save on your very first order. As always, I'm Matt Misfit Coach.
I am Matt Misfit.
I'm at Misfit Coach on Instagram. Slide into those DMs. Let me know what you thought about the episode and what you would like to hear next. We'll see you next week.